What's going on, everybody? We're doing this old school today. We're doing this with like in-car video. About to go to the gym and pretty much get it in. But been going for a minute. Back. Guy with the Mets tattoo. Morning Beer Podcast. I'm your host, Devereaux Davis. What's going on? New York Mets yesterday hired brand new manager Carlos Mendoza as the GM. So as the manager. So I just want to let this sit for a little bit because I knew regardless there's gonna be some people liking this, some people not liking this, a lot more people not liking this for reasons I believe that's not making total sense to me. I think people have short-term memory, a lot of long-term, or pretty much long-term memory of what the Mets have been in the past and have been for decades. Inept organization running at a certain way with a certain ownership and certain management. Now, you got to give 2024 a clean slate. Okay, so I'm gonna go straight into this. We're not even gonna go on with shenanigans. I like this hire in the sense of what it symbolizes. Okay, what it symbolizes is that everybody, the consensus was that 80% of the people, 80 to 90% of the people love the David Stearns hiring as the president of baseball operations, right? So if you like that hiring, you should have ultimate trust in that hiring. And he's the one making the decision now. This is not the management that we had 5 years ago. This is not the management we had 10 years ago. This is not the management we had 20 years ago. This is a whole new management that started 1 month ago. And all the things I'm reading online, this is why I let it sit for a day, because I was going to make a video yesterday, start back fresh yesterday. Reason why I took so much time off is because I have a 10-month-old baby daughter. Got a job with a higher position in it, so I take a lot of time. I'm working a lot and I work out a lot, so I have no time. And even the time that I have for myself is still not even the time for myself. So this is why I haven't followed being a YouTuber as much. But I want to be back, and I feel like I'm back. All right. So this is what we're doing. We're talking about why, if you like the David Stearns hiring so much, you should trust the David Stearns hiring, and you should trust in David Stearns in making the decision, and the reason why he made the decision in hiring Carlos Mendoza. I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, Craig Counsell, he worked with him in Milwaukee. He should have been able to hire Craig Counsell. Now, I know it sounds like I'm trying to sound like I'm right because I haven't done no videos on this, but I didn't feel like Craig Counsell was coming here to begin with. He's a Midwestern guy. I was very nervous about that and how he would interact with the New York media. He's from Milwaukee. He's a Midwestern guy. I don't know his background, what he grew up liking, the Chicago Cubs or Milwaukee Brewers. I don't know. He ended up managing the Brewers, which is the team he played for. He lives in Milwaukee, this and that. But chances are he probably grew up a Chicago Cubs fan. If I had the opportunity to be a New York Mets manager and I was working for whoever, Baltimore Orioles, and had a chance to move over here to come to New York, yeah, I'll take that chance. And I'm going to get into Craig Counsell situation in Chicago in a little bit. But I just want to talk about why we're not trusting David Stearns. I know we have post-trauma stress, PTSD, whatever the hell they call it. I'm not great with acronyms and all that stuff. We have PTSD on old hirings and all rookie managers and GMs and all this other stuff, and quite recently too, even with this ownership. But what I believe is the difference is we never had a president of baseball operation with the track record that we do. We never had one to begin with, and David Stearns has a great track record with winning. And it's kind of going to be, the point I just made is kind of going to be debunked later on in this conversation. But I want to say this. I trust in David Stearns, not because what he did in Milwaukee, but because of his pedigree. The way that baseball is heading to now with the analytics and having a structure where the president of baseball operations, the GM and everything and the manager are all one thing. It's no longer the dinosaur manager, even though a dinosaur manager just won a World Series and Bruce Bochy. It's no longer the Dusty Bakers, and actually 2 in a row, Dusty Baker and Bruce Bochy. Dinosaur, kind of like, debunking as we go along, but like we're not necessarily about the managers that dominate the team no more. 85% of baseball, maybe 90% of baseball, is about the managers that have a relationship with the front office, and the front office and them collaborate on making the team the way it is. So with that being said, first time David Stearns in his career as a GM or a president of baseball operation has hired a manager. He didn't hire Craig Counsell. He inherited Craig Counsell when he went to Milwaukee. His first time going through the process of having to hire one. So let's see how this works. Now, when we first knew that Buck was out, we started coming up with names. Everybody came up with 10 names. Mark DeRosas, the Joe Espadas, the Eric Chavez, the Carlos Beltrans, the Craig Counsells, obviously, and stuff like that. We came up with all these names. Nobody thought about Carlos Mendoza. The reason why we think about Carlos Mendoza, because we're not in the industry. We're not in the industry to know who is a name that's being spoken about in the industry. We're not in the industry to know this, to know behind the scenes, like, this guy is highly looked at. This guy is looked at as the next manager, future manager. Just look at a future GM. Looks like a future president of baseball operation. We don't know these things because we're not in the industry. We're only seeing from what we see. I'm sorry that my camera's shaking a little bit because I'm actually holding it. So there's no way we could be like, hey, Carlos Mendoza, so great thing about him being a first-time manager, and David Stearns did say this in his introductory meeting, that we might go more than likely go with a first-time manager if we don't get a Craig Counsell type in. And the first-time manager, the thing about him that I like is that he's been a bench coach for almost a decade with Aaron Boone. He's been a coach in other aspects, so he's ready to make that progression up to the next level of management in baseball. And if you look at the 2 teams right here in our division, in our National League East, the Brian Snickers, the Rob Thompsons of the world, these were bench coaches, first-time managers that got the opportunity to finally manage and got their teams, one, Brian Snickers, to a World Series and to a perennial winner in Atlanta, and 2, Rob Thompson got his team to a World Series and the National League Championship his 2 years as a manager for the first time. So if you look at that, these are not sexy hires. These are not the Craig Counsells of the world that we're going to be paying $8 million for a season. These are first-time managers that was bench coaches for a long period of time, and it was time for them to progress, to move up to a manager position, and when they got there, they hit the ball out the ballpark. So I'm not mad with this decision. If anything, I'm actually relieved with this decision, because one thing Craig Counsell was doing, and there's a lot of free agents do this, and he said it from the beginning, he wants to set the market. And what better team to use to set the market that needs a manager this time but the New York Mets, whose boss was your boss. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let me go interview with them, use them to either run up Milwaukee's tab, or this is what I'm going to get into now. Craig Counsell is a piece of shit. Reason why, excuse my French, as a man, like, this is, David Ross has the position as manager in Chicago. If Chicago comes to me like, hey, listen, we have a guy in place, but if you want to come work here, we get rid of him. We can make you the manager, and we pay you the most money. I mean, that sounds great. It sounds good, but respectfully, as a man, because Craig Counsell's gonna get paid regardless. He might have got $7 million with the Mets. Might not want to coach there. Fine. Could go back to Milwaukee, maybe make $5.5 million, maybe make $6 million or whatever. Still be the highest paid manager in baseball at the time, because the second person is not even close to him by $3 million, from what I understand. And still set the market, and still be close to home, still be home, one, and be with what he knows. But this guy decides to collaborate with Chicago and is okay with letting another guy get fired when he wasn't originally fired, take his position from under his feet, and he's okay with that. I lost tons of respect for Craig Counsell, because David Ross wasn't fired. I can understand if it was a vacant position and you're okay with taking that step and collaborating with them, but because they have somebody that's in the position at the time, it's fine. I don't want to continue this conversation as a man, and I feel that was some foul stuff right there. Big ups to Dave Ross. I'm not a fan of no other team that's not a New York Mets, but is what it is. Feel bad for what you got put through in that scenario right there. That's kind of crazy, in my opinion, that you lost your job because it just rubs me wrong. So you're laying in bed with a team that was able to undermine their manager. So hopefully down the line, you probably feel the same shit down the line, Craig Counsell, and hopefully, you get treated the same way and on your way out, because that's foul shit right there. That's foul, man. That's like that. Somebody's in that position. We don't have to talk. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know. I'm a guy from Brooklyn, Queens. We have different morals. We have different ways of going about it. He's the type of dude that would sleep with another dude's wife and shit, and look at the dude in his face the next day. In my opinion, that's the way I equate that shit. That shit don't make no sense to me. The dude has the position. We don't need to talk. We don't need to. You have a manager. No, we don't need to talk. You already have suitors. You have plenty of suitors. You could go to Houston. They have a vacancy. There was no vacancy in Chicago, but for you to take that guy's position just so you can set the market, you're a greedy son of a bitch. One, and yes, that's your team. Wait your turn. At that time, it might come up down the line. David Ross might lose his position on his own. But for you to, I don't know how the talks went, but it wasn't a vacancy, is point blank what I'm trying to say. It wasn't a vacancy. So, yeah. That's why I had to let this sit for a day, because I'm like, yo, that's foul. But anyway, going back to my Mets, because it is what it is. Karma's going to bite you in the butt over there, Craig Counsell. Karma's going to bite you in the butt. It is what it is. And also karma on the side of Milwaukee. You snaked that you didn't necessarily snake them, you snaked David Ross. You didn't snake Milwaukee. Milwaukee was Milwaukee, and they wasn't trying to pay you. I get it. It is what it is. You moved on. You went to their arch rivals. They probably want to get payback to you, whatever. They're entitled to that, feel that way. That's totally fine. I never believed Craig Counsell was coming to the New York Mets, because I believe he was trying to use them to bump up his potential gains on what he was going to get, which worked for him, right? So don't even give us the interview. And you know what? I'm proud of Steve Cohen's for seeing that and seeing what it is. And nah, I ain't gonna fucking do that. I ain't gonna go out my way to help you bump up the market and everything. So Steve Cohen's decided not to, and this is not the Mets being the Mets of old. Steve Cohen's could have paid him double 18. He could have gave him 16 million if he wanted to, but he's just not stupid. He's not a stupid business person, and that's business right there. So he's not going to get a person that hasn't won anything. So this is where I'm going to debunk my point on David Stearns being a great president of baseball operation. He's great in what he's young, Harvard grad, New York Mets, Queens guy, New York Mets fan growing up. So I like him in the role that he's going to be playing for the Mets. But my thing on Craig Counsell as a manager, and this might reflect a little bit on David Stearns, is that they won a lot in that easy division, which is the National League Central, and one of the easiest divisions. That and the American League Central are the two easiest divisions in baseball, and they won consistently in that easy division. So yes, his record is going to look great in that division for multiple years, winning, because it's in that soft division. So what has he done in the playoffs? He only had 1 year, and I think it was 2000, the year that the Dodgers, what was it, 2017 or 2018? 2018, when Boston won, they took the Dodgers to Game 7 in the NLCS. So he only won really one playoff series, and it was in 2018. It hasn't really done much in the playoffs besides that, taking them to NLCS in that year and taking them to Game 7, and potentially going to the World Series that year. I'm not he might be top 5 baseball managers right currently, but Craig Counsell is not the top. He's not Bruce Bochy. He's not Dusty Baker. He's not even like Doug Melvin, in my opinion, because I'm a huge Bob Melvin fan. Doug Melvin is the old GM of Milwaukee. Sorry. He's not even better than Bob Melvin, in my opinion. And I know people that love Bob Melvin. So, I don't think Steve Cohen's just believed that he was. I don't believe Steve Cohen believed that he was worth that $8 million that he ended up earning. And I just believe Steve Cohen made a great business move going forward. Now, let's forget about Craig, because Craig, I believe, yes, it seemed like, all right, he's a free agent coach. We need a manager. We need a manager. David Stearns was his old boss. Like I said, David Stearns never hired him, inherited him. Worked with him for a while. Great, yes. They had a great working relationship. But I didn't believe that Craig was a New York guy or wanted to be a New York guy. He was a Midwest guy. He wanted to stay in the Midwest. It's quite obvious he wanted to be Chicago Cubs, and that's where he ended up going. Let's move on. All right. Now, New York is a different breed of animal. You need a New York guy to work as a New York guy. Buck Showalter, he worked in New York for a while. He understands what it takes to win in New York. He won in New York. It just didn't end well the second season. We're looking at rookie managers. We're looking at the mistakes we made with Luis Rojas, Mickey Callaway, such and such. These were Carlos Beltran. This is where old management, this is where old ownership. We didn't have the backing of certain things to go with it to make it work. All right? These guys didn't have the bench coaching experience that our rookie manager that we have now in Carlos Mendoza has. We don't have, I don't have as much worry as I had with Luis Rojas, Carlos Beltran, Mickey Callaway going into this decision. Because now we know it's a collaboration between the GM, the president of baseball operation. We don't have a GM set yet, but maybe that's something that might happen next year, down the line, who knows, okay? But we know from wherever the interview took place between David Stearns and Carlos Mendoza, that these two would like to work with each other. We know that Carlos Mendoza understands the New York media from coaching for the Yankees, and it doesn't get more pressure than that. You're coaching the Mets now as the head guy. I'm totally for this hiring, because it's not like Carlos Mendoza was only looked at by the New York Mets. San Diego, Cleveland, Milwaukee was looking at him. He was a finalist for San Diego. And we had to end up swooping in and getting him before he went off to one of these teams. After Vogt was taken off the table, And I guess they seen from the interviews and negotiations that were going with Craig Counsell that he's really not trying to come here. Why keep going on with it and get the guy that you feel is best for the position? And I feel they end up getting the guy that overall, when I found out that it was going after him and we did research and everything and we seen his background and everything, like, okay, let's look at the team. The team is very bilingual. Lindor, Alvarez, other people that we have, and mind you, I'm outside, guys, so there's gonna be a lot of people walking around the car and everything. Cars going through I'm in the parking lot, so mind you, it's great to have that there because now we have a person that can relate to players, all types of players in the clubhouse. You're going to be speaking the language of players in the clubhouse, so I'm fine with that. You're going to be speaking to me that you have experience with because he had to end up coaching some games because Boone got suspended, Boone got kicked out the game. He has experience with bullpen, working the bullpen, pinch hitting, all these things that's needed that these rookie managers that we had before didn't have to do in the game. So I'm fine with this hire. It's almost in the Snicker, Rob Thompson type of hire, which has been winning in the National League East for years. So why must we overpay for somebody that didn't want to be here? One, overpay for the sexy name when we could get somebody that's analytically driven because you've been with the Yankees, in game, proven, New York media proven, New York guy, bilingual, checks all the boxes necessary to win in New York, necessary to be a good coach potentially in New York, and we're losing our shit over this. People are mad. It's hypocritical because you love the Stearns hire. Let Stearns do his work. Let David Stearns do his work. If this is who David Stearns believes he's going to be a good manager for New York, fine, sign me up. Let's go. I'm ready for 2024. Let's go. You see the type of person that Craig Counsell is. A snake. And you wanted that? Y'all are sad? Y'all losing your... No, we dodged a bullet. Look at it that way, man. That shows a lot of character that you would be okay with knowing that a team has a manager in place, but you want to... Anyway, best fans, I'm going to leave it at that, man. I have to go lift some weights and everything, man. Listen, just be happy. We have somebody in place now. We're ready to go forward with the winter meetings and everything and make some moves and everything. We don't have a GM yet. Don't know if that's something that's going to be done this season. Might be a next year type thing. But we do have David Stearns. We do have good management. We do have good leadership as far as our ownership is concerned. Let's go forward. Let's go ahead. Might not be a 90-win season, might be an 85-win season, might sneak into the playoffs type of year. That might be lower expectations. However, Texas lost 100 games 2 years ago. Okay? We didn't lose 100 games. We can easily turn this around. Just be, just let's not jump off a bridge, okay? We got this. I think we're going in a good direction. We got younger. We have a good farm system. We got money. We got manager and management in place. Let's go. We're in good shape. Always remember LGM or LFGM. I'll have more videos coming soon. I'm your host of the Morning Beer Podcast. Guy with the Mets tattoo. Talk to you later. Peace.